Setting behaviour expectations ensure that all students know exactly what's expected of them, know exactly how the activity is supposed to look, how it's supposed to sound, and it increases the likelihood of maintaining a supportive environment, but also students feeling confident that they'll achieve success.
When students understand what the expectations are around completing tasks and using equipment, it reduces the need for verbal and non-verbal correction because they understand exactly what's expected of them.
Setting behaviour expectations for the learning tasks supports my teaching because the students know what's expected of them. They'll know what to do, how to do it and when to do it.
By setting behaviour expectations in the classroom, it supports my teaching by ensuring that all students are on the same page, but it also maintains those high expectations, not just about their behaviour, but also about the work that they're completing.
A benefit for students is that they get more learning time and that they feel like they're succeeding. When you're constantly correcting students or asking them to change their behaviour, I think it can create an environment where they feel like they're not meeting expectations or succeeding.
First, I gain all students' attention.
Once students are listening, I set the behaviour expectations for the learning task.
Once I've set the expectations, I check for understanding and then ask students to practice the expectations I've set.
I then start students off on their learning task.
I regularly monitor students to make sure that they're completing the learning task by pausing, scanning and circulating.
So the way that I decide about the behaviour expectations during a learning task depends greatly on the task involved. If it's an experimental task, then the focus will be mainly on safety. If it's a classroom activity, then it's going to be about safe and respectful communication. The expectations stay the same. And I find that provides consistency for students to understand what is expected of them, and they're more likely to be able to be successful in regards to that. The behaviour expectations are displayed on the wall at all times in my classroom. Kids can always see what those expectations are because they're always visible.
Excellent. So what we're going to start off with is a demonstration at the front. So I'm going to need you all to come up around the front desk and crowd up around me, please, with your safety glasses. Come to me. Need some of you around this side of the bench too. I promise I am clean. So a quick reminder of the expectations when you head back to your bench, and they're on the board for those of you that have forgotten, okay? We don't sit down during experiments, we don't run around. The safety glasses must remain on your face in order for them to work, and same with your lab coat or your apron needs to remain on. Safety with equipment, especially with the scalpel when you're not using it. Can you please put it back into the container so that no one accidentally knocks it? We don't want it falling onto the ground. Okay, and your hair tied back. Any questions about what you're doing? We ready to rumble? Outstanding. Grab yourself a pair of gloves, a toad, and a dissection kit.
The considerations that I have when setting a behaviour expectation for a learning task is mainly about what the task is and how I want the students to go about achieving that task. If it's a practical setting, it's going to be focused mainly on safety. Safety with equipment, especially with the scalpel when you're not using it. Can you please put it back into the container so that no one accidentally knocks it? And in a classroom setting, it's about providing students a really clear framework on how to engage with the task to be successful.
Okay, any questions about what you're doing? We ready to rumble? Outstanding. Grab yourself a pair of gloves, a toad, and a dissection kit.
I'm setting them up for the highest likelihood of success and that they're confident to give it a go. The impact of setting behaviour expectations on student learning is that it's increased engagement and increased the likelihood of success for students.
I would decide the expectations for the students before the learning task by considering what is the outcome I want to see from the students and what learning am I looking for. So if it was something where I want them to be communicating, I would let them know that this is the type of communication I expect. If it's something at a desk where I want them to be working individually, I would remind them of what individual work looks like. Setting the behaviour expectations for learning tasks really ensures that students understand exactly what they need to succeed. This means that they're more confident and that they feel like they're able to do the learning. When I take a little bit of time at the beginning of the year to very explicitly set expectations around equipment and completing tasks, it means that during the rest of the year, I spend less time correcting behaviour and get to spend more time on learning. Students are able to focus on the learning because I'm reminding them of behaviour expectations less. And a picture that we have to match our words to. If you have a pencil in your hand, I want you to put it on the table in front of you. I'm waiting for one person to put their pencil down. Wonderful. Okay, when we do our work at our desk, we don't want to be distracted by our friends and talk. No. So we have our microphone to help us. Let's practice how loud we can be with our microphone. I want you to turn to your partner and have a bit of a whisper. Okay, good. Now let's talk a little bit louder. And a little bit louder. Did we make our microphone go off?
Yes.
So is that too loud?
Yes.
I'm going to turn the microphone back on. I want you to show me how we whisper to our friends. All right, hands on heads, shoulders, nose. Now we know how loud we can talk to our friends. So when the microphone goes on and we're doing our worksheet, we're not going to set our microphone off. Are we going to set our microphone off? No. Okay, is everyone ready with their pencils?
Yep.
We're going to trace our word and read them. What are we going to do, KB? Trace them and read them. All right, my microphone's coming on now. Make sure we got our whisper. And you can start. Good job. Yeah. Yes. Good job. It's okay. Shh, that's all right. Read it nice and quietly. Thank you, Miss Smith. When I'm gaining all students' attention to set expectations, I want to make sure that all students can see and hear me and that I can see and hear all students. When I'm setting expectations for the learning task, I want to ensure that students understand what I've outlined and that they can explain it back to me. I would ask them to repeat back to me what I have said, or I might ask students to demonstrate the behaviour expectations. We're going to trace our word and read them. What are we going to do, KB? Trace them and read them. All right, my microphone's coming on now. Make sure we got our whisper. When we are starting a new task for the first time, I would really explicitly model exactly what the expectations are and then ensure that they can do it by watching them practice it and then reminding them of the behaviour expectations as we go through the task. Setting clear behaviour expectations for learning tasks means that, again, behaviours are reduced because students know exactly what's expected of them and they understand the task in a really explicit way. It means that when I'm teaching, I can spend more time on teaching and less time on correcting behaviour.
When deciding on what expectations I want to set for a learning task, I think about what the learning is. Are they learning in groups? Are they going off individually? Just so I can support them to engage in their learning and know what they need to be doing. So the learning expectations should reflect a calm, safe learning environment. So if they're moving from area to area, just making sure that they're keeping each other safe and themselves safe and keeping the lesson calm and keeping everyone engaged. So during learning, moving around the room and acknowledging students when they're meeting the behaviour expectations really helps them stay focused. I can pinpoint an individual or a group or a table group and they encourage each other to stay on task, which is nice. I'm going to move over to the middle table and then I need people kneeling behind and then people standing behind that like we normally do for our maths. Yeah. Okay, so when I get to the table, what are you going to do? Go over to the table. Kneel and stand and you'll be doing that quietly. Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move over and then I'm going to call you to come over, okay? Let me go first. Right. Okay. All right, okay. Make your way over.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. All right, if there's a space to stand, you can do that. There's probably a space right next to me here, William. Fantastic, good job. Okay, I'm going to start my pattern. So in a minute you're about to go to your table, so you'll move to your table quietly. When your whole table is ready, I will say When your table is ready, you'll be able to go get a marker and the things to make your pattern. I'm going to leave this here. Why do you think Mrs. Morrison might leave this here for you?
So we can know.
Hand up. Thanks for putting your hand up for Gelly.
So we can remember what.
Yeah, so you can come and check just to make sure that you're on the right track, okay? If you're a little bit stuck and you need to ask questions, who could you ask? First of all, who's the first people that you could ask?
People on your table.
Hands up if you want to say. Sienna?
Kids on the table, and if they don't
Yep.
know, you could ask a teacher or check this.
Yeah, great. So first of all, ask the people on your table to help you. Come and check my pattern here, or then you can come and ask Mrs. Morrison. If you need to ask a question, what are you going to do? Put your hand up. Okay, can you quietly and slowly move to your table? Thank you. I love the way that this table moved so quietly to their table. Well done. All right. Okay. All right, waterfalls. Okay, can this table please go get a whiteboard marker and your pattern things there? And this table at the back can go as well. Do you know what kind of pattern you're going to make? All right. Fantastic. When gaining students' attention, when setting expectations, I want to make sure that they are all ready, listening. That just ensures that people aren't missing any of the steps of the lesson. When setting expectations, I'm checking for understanding. So once I've explained something, I'm asking them to repeat it. I'm keeping my voice clear and concise, just so there's no miscommunication when it comes to their expectations for learning. So when I get to the table, what are you going to do? Kneel and stand, and you'll be doing that quietly. Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move over and then to support them to meet their expectations for learning, I like to make sure that I'm offering acknowledgement and praise so they know that they are on the right track, making my instructions clear and concise, checking for understanding to make sure that they know exactly what's expected of them. I love the way that this table moved so quietly to their table. Well done. Setting expectations for learning has impacted my classroom management, where students are able to take control of their own behaviour during learning tasks. They know what's expected of them. They know what's expected of each other. Therefore, I'm having to intervene less, and they're just able to get on with their learning tasks without becoming disengaged. The work you have done is absolutely fantastic. You should be really proud of it. Put up your hand if you've done.